June 18th, 2010 will go down in the history books. It will be remembered as the day that one of the biggest films of all time was released. A film that has touched generations and will continue to touch generations until the end of time. Toy Story 3. Also, Jonah Hex came out on this day. Kind of farted out onto the box office, was torched by critics, and was pretty much forgotten by most people. Jonah Hex is a very interesting look at how not to make a comic book movie. Written by the filmmaking duo of Mark Neveldine and Brian Taylor, known at the time for the Crank movies and Gamer. They were originally going to direct but left due to creative differences and were replaced with Jimmy Hayward, an animation director who to this day has only directed one live-action movie. Hayward's presence, or more like lack of presence as a director, is felt throughout the entire runtime of this pathetic drivel. In a time post-Dark Knight and pre-Django Unchained, Jonah Hex had the chance to really stoke the fires of both lovers of comics and westerns, but instead spits in the face of both fans with a badly shot, mediocrely acted, incoherently edited dumpster fire that makes you start to wonder how someone like Josh Brolin, who has been in such great films recently as Deadpool 2 and Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, would have made a movie so bad and so off base with its source material.
It seems like I've been luckier than most in that respect.
On the other hand, he did make the Old Boy remake with Spike Lee, so I guess never mind. Brolin really does try to act his ass off while gritting his teeth the whole movie, which is the most comic accurate part of the entire film. Unfortunately, his performance doesn't fit because it's in a film that doesn't have any idea what it's trying to be. It seems like they were not sure if they wanted to make an old western or a comic book movie. Something that may have been able to have been handled better by a more experienced director. Maybe one that would have had a vision and a name that would have been able to keep the studio in check. Something that has plagued many overly ambitious comic book adaptations in the past 20 years. Jonah Hex is a very, very loose adaptation of the character of the same name from various DC comics. I guess before I completely destroy the movie, I should bring up the plot. This film is an origin story that puts a weird supernatural twist on the Western origins of the character. It plays like a weird cross between Cowboys and Aliens, the 2013 Lone Ranger, and Wild Wild West. Jonah Hex is a Civil War vet who can speak to the dead and has to work for the government to go after the man who killed his family and scarred his face, Quentin Turnbull. Also, Megan Fox is a prostitute who's in like 4 scenes, but was a major part of the advertising for the movie. They're clearly cashing in on the fact that this is the year after Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, and Megan Fox is the hot it girl. Unfortunately, this was the last year that she was the big hot it girl.
You still got that Derringer in your bustle?
No, I took it.
What about that knife in your garter?
Took it.
What about that?
Took it all, Jonah.
Well, searched you for it darn good, didn't they?
Wouldn't you?
All right, look, here's what we're gonna do.
Megan Fox and Josh Brolin literally have no chemistry, and their characters have no reason to really even be together, and that it's clearly just a big cash-in.
We can go somewhere.
Everyone who gets close to me dies. There's no future for you and me, Lala.
I could use that in the roads.
The only person who seems like they might be having any bit of fun in this movie at all is John Malkovich playing the villain Quentin Turnbull. But in all honesty, he could play a good villain without knowing he was even on camera. He's that good of an actor, so to say he's a bright spot should go without saying. But he's in the film so little and given even less to do that it wouldn't have mattered if it was John Malkovich or John Lovitz playing the damn role. His sidekick is Michael Fassbender. The Michael Fassbender, a year before First Class is released, and he has nothing to do in the movie. I don't even know his name. I think it's Tattoo Face. When this movie came out, I was still in high school, and I'll be honest, the marketing of this movie got me, and it made it look like a better version of Wild Wild West with a darker tone and a comic book style. Not to mention, it had Megan Fox, who was clearly a draw for a 17-year-old me. And when it came to that fateful June 18th day and I had to decide which movie I was going to see, obviously I had a brain and I saw Toy Story 3 and waited for Jonah Hex to come out on video next month. This movie is still the second worst $3 I have ever spent on a movie, next to the time I drunkenly bought Joanna Man on Blu-ray at the 7-Eleven next to my house. The writing of the movie is pretty bad, and it feels less like a comic book come to life, and more like the Grandpa and Princess Bride trying to read a calculus textbook to a blind kid.
Future's bright.
Does that even make sense? Who cares? I probably put more effort into writing this video than Neville Dean and Taylor did writing this script. At the time of the release of Jonah Hex, I was a fan of Neville Dean and Taylor. I would never say exposition was their strong suit.
What's happening to me?
Afraid you're dead, friend.
How can you speak to me?
Well, it's kind of a knack I picked up when I near died myself. You see, what I done to you is unnatural. I keep you out of the ground too long, you're likely to just burn right on up. And it seems like the fresher dead you are, the quicker it happens.
Always settling for having the characters flatly explain everything.
Dirt likes dead, dead likes dirt. Simple as that.
Without the direction of Neville Dean and Taylor to help bring their distinctive style, the movie just looks like a very sanitized looking Western. In other comic book adaptations like Hellboy or Sin City, the directors of those films made sure to give the film a distinct visual style and look to help pull the viewer into the world of the movie, so that when something ridiculous happens, you don't scoff at the unbelievability, and instead accept it as the reality of the world in front of your eyes. Jonah Hex has literally none of that. Brolin's Hex sticks out in every scene more than the 6-foot red Hellboy does in his respective movie. Hell, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter has more of a distinct style and flair than this film ever has. At 1 hour and 21 minutes, the film moves at the pace of a runaway train, yet feels like you're walking through a swamp, because it feels an hour longer than it actually is. It does seem like Brolin understood the character, but the director and the studio were never able to figure out if they wanted to be more Western or more comic book, and it seems like they somehow lost the movie along the way. In conclusion, Jonah Hex is a film with so much potential that utterly falls flat at almost every turn, and is most certainly in the top 5 worst comic book movies of the past 20 years. If there's anything else in the film I haven't mentioned, I probably forgot about it because I don't want to think about this movie any more than I need to. Fortunately, Hex has had a second life in guest appearances on one of DC's best shows, CW's Legends of Tomorrow. On the show, he's a bit closer to his comic book counterpart and is much better on a substantially smaller budget, which should go to show that this character maybe does deserve another chance in the spotlight, which is something I would love, because I think this is a character and world that, if done correctly, could make for a great comic book Western franchise, which is a relatively untapped world and is something that could invigorate the genre in years to come. Please like and subscribe for more videos. I hope to do more videos like this. Comment below, what is your least favorite comic book movie? Please like this video, guys. Share it with your friends, your uncle's friends, your friends' uncles, everyone you know. Thanks for watching.